where do the Niners go from here? What should be their next moves to like expedite this reload process as quickly as possible?
We kind of touched on this earlier, but if I'm being fair, if I was Eddie D, Kyle's done, right? We know this, but the Yorks are in charge, so give him one more season, right?
Okay.
I think that's fair.
But bring in a GM.
Bring in a GM. You got to do that. You got to shake up the front office. You got to show the fans that, hey, this isn't working. We had some success, but like we have to get over the hump. The goal is to get a 6th Super Bowl. The goal is not to win NFC title games and be in the playoffs, right? You got to bring in a GM, if anything, to take something off Kyle's plate and let the GM go to work. Give the GM one full season to evaluate Brock Purdy, to evaluate some of these veterans on longer deals and see, hey, do we want to go this direction? And if we don't, the following season, we talked about this, you trade Kyle Shanahan, you get a first-round pick, maybe 2. You're going into that first year with another GM with 3 first-round picks, and we're going to build through the draft.
Okay, let me ask you this. So that all checks out to me. On paper, in theory, that's a great way to go about it. Let's go back to reality for a second. You mentioned that just to get him on the team, Jed had to give him these powers right away. We're 8 years in. Jed pulls the rug out from him. Like, look, man, did it your way for a long time. I wrote every check you wanted. I never said no to you. I'm bringing in a general manager. You do not have carte blanche. I am taking away a lot of your power. Kyle says, cool, sounds good. I love you, Jed. I'll work real hard to please you. Or does he say, I mean, is there a world where he says, I resign? Trade me.
Yeah, there's definitely a world.
I mean, didn't he ask the Browns to let him out of his contract once upon a time 10 years ago? Didn't he do that?
I think he could do that, and that's a possibility. But the San Francisco is not the destination that it was 8 years ago when Kyle came in, right?
True.
Yeah, maybe it's not the number 1 job in the NFL, but it's probably number 2 or 3.
I would agree.
So there's going to be a replacement, right? You're going to get somebody, you're going to bring somebody in who's quality. Is it Ben Johnson? Is it a list of all these coordinators that are incredible?
Kevin, it could be Bill Belichick.
It could be Bill Belichick. I wanted Sean Payton a long time ago, but it could be Bill Belichick. If they gave Bill Belichick the job offer with another first-round pick from Kyle, man, how can you say that the 49ers got worse in that deal?
I mean, you're not asking Belichick to start from scratch, which he didn't do a very good job of the last few years. He might be the perfect coach to sort of fix the Niners culture for reasons we detailed at length in this show. Part of me feels like he doesn't resonate with young players anymore, and part of me feels like he's exactly what this freaking team needs. Exactly what this team needs.
The defense would be so elite with Nick Bosa in the 3-4 off the edge.
Yep.
And Fred Warner playing one of those inside linebacker roles. They just need to get a 3-4 D tackle, but I would do it. So where do they go from here? I think, is that a possibility that he would resign? Yes.
Yep.
More likely is he would not like the conversation with Jed York and he would push back on it. But Jed York has to stick to his guns and say, this is what we're doing, right? The top guy has to call the shots. This is a tough shot to call, but you got to do it. You got to shake something up.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I resign. Okay, well, you don't get the next 5 years on your contract. Like, what do you mean you resign? That's the thing about coach contracts is they're fully guaranteed. So if the Niners wanted to move on or something, they'd be paying Kyle allegedly $14 million a year for quite a long time. But if he says, hey, just let me out of my contract, you can start over. I'll go wherever I want. Don't trade me. I want to pick my destination. Be interesting. I wonder if he could do that. But he's about to win this weekend. Everything's going to be okay, Kevin. You're so negative. Jesus.
Are we going too hard on them? I think we kind of are we? We got two quality control members.
We've been going pretty hard on them. I've been going pretty hard on them all week. Dude, you lost to Seattle. You scored 17 points against Seattle. It feels like the lowest point of his tenure with the Niners this right now.
Maybe we're doing this stream at the wrong time, but it doesn't look good. Like the 49ers this season have looked awful. Let's be honest, right?
I mean, it's like you know about the Super Bowl hangover, but you're not supposed to miss the playoffs after going to the Super Bowl and bringing back essentially the same team.
You're not. The roster is talented. There have been some injuries, but what about the special teams? Have you ever seen a special teams have this many issues, like across the board, right? Like I'm talking block punts, big returns, fumbled kickoffs, fumbled punt returns. I mean,
Anything that could
penalties.
go wrong does go wrong. It's across the board. And it's not like they neglect it. Moody, 3rd-round pick. Wisnowski, 4th-round pick. They spent a lot of money on George Odom. They think Tabor Pepper's the best long snapper. Like, they tried.
In OTAs, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm spending the first 3 days and we're literally doing nothing but special teams. We're doing punt coverage. We're doing punt blocking, kickoff coverage, all of these things. I just don't think they practice it.
I mean, must not be enough. What's funny is in the Super Bowl, Darrell Luter Jr., the gunner or whatever, gets like blocked into Ray McLeod, muffed a punt, Chiefs recover. And you think, man, the Niners are really going to address this and make sure it never happens again. They get rid of Ray McLeod, keep Darrell Luter Jr. Same thing happens to him a few weeks ago. And now it's Jacob Cowing who fumbles. Like, does feel like I hate saying fire the special teams coach when I don't exactly know what he's doing, but it doesn't seem like he can point to anything, any success in his unit right now. Hard to say.
The special teams coach should have got fired already.
Like the best you can say about the Niners special teams is like when they occasionally don't have an awful game. It's like, wow, special teams didn't cost them the game. You can't actually blame special. Like last week against Seattle, it's like, well, at least you can't blame special teams. All right, Lauren says, if I hear one more time that Kyle lost Super Bowls because of Brady and Mahomes, Nick Foles and Dougie P beat Brady, guys, come on. To me, Kyle lost those Super Bowls because he beat himself. You had leads in the second half and you started passing like your quarterback was John Elway. Meanwhile, when your dad had leads in the second half with John Elway, he was running. So I don't know.
All they needed was a first down, that final drive, just complete one more pass.
Yeah. Dave Barclay says Lyle and company are regressing. It would be interesting to see who the personnel guy would be that they would bring in, how they would, what title they would give him, how they would sort of reassign John Lynch, how Kyle Shanahan would take it. What a very interesting offseason that would be, because it would be like a compromise. Kyle, we're not throwing you out, but we are your bosses, and we're very not happy about what just happened. So now we're micromanaging you. How does it feel?
I think they got to do it. Do we realistically think though they're not going to change anything?
See,
seriously though. Think about it. Let's say,
how do you change nothing and then ask?
Let's say they go 8-9, right?
Uh-huh.
Do you think they're not going to change anything?
It seems to me. How do you miss the playoffs and then turn around to your season ticket holders and say, "All right, we're up in prices and we got this is a quest for 6," and forget last year. Last year was just. So what do you mean last year was just? It was awful, and this is the same team, and it's older now. Yeah, they got to sell hope a different way. I feel like you have to make a change. Otherwise, there's no hope to sell.
You got to get better. I mean, look at the division. You think this is Seattle's first year with a new head coach? Look at them. Look at Arizona.
Remember this offseason when someone asked Kyle, do you think you got better? And he said, well, we didn't get worse. That was a tip-off.
What a weird
because you're either getting better or you're getting worse.
He said that?
He said, we didn't get worse, and that was our goal. When you get a team like this, a team this good, it's hard to get better. Oh, boy, you better find a way.
That's crazy.
It's like he just disqualified himself from the general manager job right there. Hey, I couldn't make the team better. I want to be the first to let everyone know the team is not better, and I made the executive decision. It's just impossible. I tried.
We had free agency. We had a draft, but we didn't get better.
Yeah. I made a lot of decisions. We spent a lot of money. The Yorks were very generous. Between us, we're no better than last year. But we should be good enough, even though last year wasn't good enough. But I'm feeling good. All right, so because we were so, as you said, hard on Kyle, he's for sure watching right now, and he's going to win tomorrow. So, Kyle, make us eat our words. Can't wait. I'm actually flying out there to see this, so I'm all for you, making it interesting. Although I'm feeling 30-10.
You're really flying to Lambeau Field?
Dude, I'm flying to Chicago tonight. I'm waking up at like 7 a.m. and driving up to Green Bay and then driving back in the same day. All to watch Brandon Allen.
Have you been to Green Bay?
A few times.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a schlep.
We played, when I was with the Bears, we played against the Packers on Christmas Day. And it's crazy because Lambeau is like a legendary scene, right? It's like in the middle of just a neighborhood. Like
It's
you're just
so
kind of
weird.
cruising in Oakland, and all of a sudden, like there's houses, and all of a sudden, boom, there's
Boom.
a stadium.
It's like, yeah, it's like, it feels like San Leandro. I don't know how well you know, but it's like just like this little tiny suburb with a bunch of houses that haven't been renovated since 1955. And it's like,
Totally.
oh, I could probably buy that house for like $300,000. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, snap. That's the most iconic stadium. It's incredible. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. And like you can park on their lawns for like $10. It's like a whole
Really?
little economy. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Are you
It's one
gonna
of the
do that?
perks.
Oh no, you're taking an Uber. You'll probably,
I'm
or you renting the car.
I'm gonna have free parking because I'm in the media. It's one of the perks I get.
Mhm.
I'm not taking a 3-hour Uber from Chicago. I'm literally renting a car and driving from Chicago to Green Bay tomorrow and then driving back. It's like driving from my house to Tahoe to cover a game and then coming back at night. I regret it.
And you
Look
didn't
at your
want to
face.
you didn't want to fly out yesterday?
Why did I think
Why
I
didn't you
wanted
fly
to
out? Why
save
didn't you
money.
fly out this morning or something?
I wanted to save money or something. I don't know. I instantly regret it. I should have just spent the extra $200.